Good morning. I was watching something on TV last night that was talking about the progression of viruses and the development of vaccines. And you'd think by now we'd be a little tired of this, but actually it was very interesting. So these guys were saying, and their eyes were so alight, they were so excited. They were saying that because the vaccine seemed to come out so quickly for many of us, for like 9 months, and boom, we had a vaccine for this virus, that actually they had been working on this for years earlier. So what do I mean? They said that they were working, for example, they were using the blood that was drawn from victims of the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic. And they had drawn blood and stored it, saved it, archived it. And that scientists had used that archived blood that was almost 100 years old in cases in order to develop responses to viruses in general, and then to the coronavirus in specific. They actually went back and found survivors of the 1918 pandemic and drew their blood again. And over 100 years later, or almost 100 years later, these people who survived the Spanish flu continue to carry the antibodies in their system. It was fascinating. I mean, their eyes were so alight. These guys were so excited about what they were sharing. And I thought to myself, well, they said really that our body is an archive of every illness and every virus we have ever contracted and that we have recovered from. We carry the antibodies within our system, our personal system, that show everywhere we've been before in the past, as far as illness goes. And so I was so struck this morning when I was praying that, isn't it the same with God, right? We carry within ourselves, we are an archive of all of the times where God has made contact with us, has been present in our suffering, has been a steadying force in our fear, has been a resource when we felt like we had none other. And if we have the ability to track the antibodies of viruses in our system, we certainly have the ability to track the fingerprints of God for the encounters that we've had over our lifetime. What if we did that? What if we actually took time to pay attention and log and catalog and write down, God was present to me here. God was present to me at this time. And when I lost my dad, God was present to me here. When I left the convent, God was so present to me there. Present in helping bring my life back together into a new normal. You have experiences that are just like this. Imagine if our eyes were full of the same excitement as the eyes of the scientists when they discovered the antibodies and therefore were able to create a response that would help save lives. They're working on new antibodies right now. They're predicting that in 5 years, they will have a vaccine that will eliminate all viruses in the future that will help combat that. And once we receive that vaccine, those antibodies are in our system as well. So what seems like a quick turnaround for science, they're already working on it. What about spiritually? So often we feel like, oh my gosh, I've tried till the last nth degree to take care of this problem myself. And then I'm going to toss the ball to God and say, okay, I waited, but now I need you. And the turnaround seems so quick. God's right there. And yet we didn't manifest God. God has been there in our lives long before, right? You know that. I know that. Track the fingerprints of God today. See what kind of divine antibodies you have in your system. And be thankful. There's so much to be thankful for.